Hello and welcome to Paul's Beer Reviews. As you can already tell, it's going to be something a little bit different. I've got a very special delivery today. I've been gifted very kindly a machine from the lovely guys at Beer Monster, and they've sent me the new simply titled Draught machine. You might have seen me and John from Lords playing with one of these up at the brewery a few weeks back. If you didn't see it, we're going to do a full unboxing, a setup video, and then see what it does. So we'll crack on with the unboxing. So I've broken into the box already. First thing you see is a great big user manual with the warranty information. This is quite handy because it's got a list of parts, a couple of pages in, which is handy because that's what we're going to go through now. So at the top here, the first thing you come across is a lovely polystyrene with spare bits in it. We've got these bad boys, which are our little CO2 cartridges, which is used to push the beer through. So we've got one and a spare one, which is always handy. So we'll put those back in there for now. We've also got a keg adapter, spare parts, which is always handy. We've got a line cleaner, so you pour in that to funnel water through the line to keep it nice and clean, nice and sterilised. We've got another, so 3 CO2s. We've got a pump handle, which is going to be handy. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull this tray off the top. That comes away. So that comes away there. That's with my spare parts. I'll leave that down there for now. And when you take that out, that reveals the main unit itself. Get this box out of the way. And here is the Beer Monster Draught machine. There, get out of the way. Drop the knife on the floor. So there is the Beer Monster Draught machine, which is nice. Go through the parts. We've got our CO2 capsules. Got our beer handle. Goes onto there. Screws on, which is nice. Keep those there. So yeah, so there's all the parts. There is a drip tray, should be a drip tray around here somewhere. I'll pick that up in a minute. What we're going to do, now we've got all the parts, we're going to turn it on and start setting it up. So we'll be back in a second. And we're back, part 2. We have got all the equipment out. We've got our handle here that clinks onto the top of the keg. We've got our funnel here which goes into the keg. That's where the beer comes out of. I've given this a good clean. We've got this contraption here which has the 2 sets either side there, one where the CO2 line goes in, the other where the beer line goes in. That screws into the top of our beer straw here essentially. And what you can do with this machine, they recommend putting in some water. Okay, so they recommend putting 800 millilitres of water into it. There's a line inside the machine and there's a maximum level. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour some water into that now. Just needs a little bit more. Happy to let the camera in there while we're doing that. Okay, all we're going to do is just fill it up to the max line there. It's about perfect. And like I say, you can do it without water, but they do recommend doing it because it just makes the machine cool down just that little bit quicker. And what we've done, we've got our keg. Like I say, I removed the plastic handle that you get on it. You can either use a flat-headed screwdriver or I just flicked a knife underneath it and got it out. We're going to lower our keg into our machine now. I have to get that out of the way before I do that. Always helps. Lower the keg. This Adnams Ghost Ship has been chilling in the fridge now for best part of 24 hours. So it's already nice and cold. With all these machines, they do recommend that you get the beer nice and chilled before you try and put it into a machine. And now what we've got to do, we're going to vent it. So you pull this up, as with any keg, and you're going to vent it slightly. To release a bit of the gas. That is quite normal. Let that do its thing. That one's calmed down a little bit. And then what we want to do is we want to pull this out if we can. They don't always come out very easily. See, that one's broken off, but that's not a big deal. So what we do now, we get this here, and what we'll do, we'll push the rest of that in, but I think it's already been in the beer anyway. So we push that right into the beer, like that, as far as it will go. And we get our, well, I could have used a keg handle, but I didn't use it. And we get this, goes into there, screw that down all the way. Just like that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to connect our CO2 line. That. We're going to connect our beer line. Not too sure if that clicked. Click that time. Perfect. That's in. Then what we're going to do, we're going to put a CO2 capsule in. So it goes into this little compartment here on top. Screw that in. Tight as she'll go. The handle goes on top of that. That screws into place. It then slots up into the lid there. Push that down. Turn her on. And you'll hear the coolant start up straight away. And then what we want to do is we want to set this to 6, which is about right. Currently it's at 13 degrees. So all we're going to do, we're going to wait for this to chill down. We're going to see how long it takes to chill down. So bearing in mind this is the initial setup of the machine, so it might be a little bit longer. But we'll wait and see. It's at 13 now. We want it at 6 so we can get a nice cold citrus pale ale. And yeah, we'll see how long it takes, and then we'll be back with the beer pouring. And we're back, and the machine has chilled already to its desired temperature of 6 degrees, and it took just 15 minutes. I'm really impressed with it. It did this up at Lord's Brewing. I thought it might have been a fluke, but the same thing has happened. You saw me put the beer keg in. I shut the lid, turned it on. I set it to 6 degrees. What it does when you shut the lid and turn it on is a gentle fanning noise. And it literally just did it. It took 15 minutes. It went from 13 degrees down to 6 degrees. In like 15 minutes it took. And as soon as it got to the desired temperature, the fan stopped and the machine is now silent. Dead silent. So what we're going to do, we've got the CO2 level currently on 0, which is what they suggest having it on between pours. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn it on slightly now. Kind of put it to midway. I've got a freshly rinsed glass, and we're going to attempt to pour a pint of Ghost Ship. Okay, so I'm going to add some more CO2. Let's do it. Maybe a bit too much. A bit of a sound there. That might be a bit too much. You can hear the gas now doing its thing. Getting a bit ahead on that, but that is to be expected. There's the first. Let's see how long it takes for that. We got a full on 27 finger of slightly off white head on this at the moment, but that will that's dissipating already pretty quickly, to be fair. But plenty of CO2 has been pumped through that. That is a freshly rinsed glass as well, but as you can see, that head is disappearing and the beer is working its way up quite nicely. Going down pretty quick. But it looks pretty good in the glass. Looks pretty good in the glass. I'm going to reduce the gas again a little bit more. Let that sit. I forgot to mention the drip tray that comes with it. That's a decent quality drip tray. Really nice quality stuff. This handle, I sort of forgot to say, when you take off the standard plastic handle that comes with the keg, the idea is you slide this on top and it kind of slots in around the edges of the keg. You can then use that to lift in to the machine. But me being daft, you saw me using just brute strength and just lower it into the machine on its own. Coming back to the beer, again, that's catching up with it now. That's catching up, that's looking half decent. You can see the CO2 levels on that. Smells pretty good. Chilled to perfection, pint of ghost ship. I'm going to work my way through that head. I'm going to try it anyway. Cheers. Yeah, it's really good. That's really good. Does make a bit of noise when it's got it to and they say they do recommend between pours just turning the CO2 right off. So yes, so the idea of this machine, it's draft quality beer from a keg. So you pump in the CO2 through it. So keeping it a bit of carbonation in there, it keeps the temperature at the desired level. So why I like this machine is those reasons. It keeps the beer cold. There's no spillage, no kegs. You kind of, once you've opened up the tap and you're pouring it into a glass of your own, you always get a bit of drippage, don't you? Obviously with this, you don't have that problem to worry about. There is a drainage opening down here. So when you finished using the keg, you can open that, you just flip it down so any drainage comes out into your little drip tray. So there's no mess. And obviously it keeps the keg cold. So you haven't got to worry about putting the keg on ice packs or anything like that like we used to do. So it's silent once it's got to the right temperature. It keeps your beer cold. It's constantly pumping CO2 through the beer to keep it fresh for you. I know John had a beer sitting in his beer monster machine for a week. And he went back to it and he said it still tasted fresh. As soon as he turned on the CO2 tap, started pumping a bit of gas through it, he said the beer tasted absolutely fine. So we know this stuff is good for a week. And obviously with these 5 litre mini kegs, you're getting the best part of 8 pints out of it. All in all, I'm really, really impressed. And like I say, it only took 15 minutes for it to chill from 13 degrees down to the desired temperature. As I say, do recommend that you pre-chill your keg. So keep it in the fridge for like a day before if you can. And yeah, pour some cold water into the bottom of the machine. It says it speeds up the whole process. But yeah, once again, thank you very much to Beer Monster for sending this my way. I'm yeah, really, really flattered by that. I really do appreciate it. It's a cracking gift for Christmas. I think a lot of people are going to want this. I genuinely think this could be a bit of a game changer. And again, I say, that's a pretty good pint of Ghost Ship. If someone poured me one of them, I'd be well chuffed for that. So thanks for watching, guys, and cheers.